windows down here again. Echoes nicely off these little walls. What is going on, people? Welcome back to another video. As you can see behind me, a MK3 Focus RS. Now this car has been on my list to drive for a while now. It belongs to Daniel, who kindly invited me up to his house to check it out. And what we're going to do today is basically show you how it sounds, how it drives, and just basically give you guys a general feel for how Focus RS is like. It does differ to the other hot hatches I've driven. We've driven quite a few now. We've driven the Golf R, we've driven the S3, which is mine, Type R, and we've driven the sort of M Performance BMWs. This thing is probably the most different to all of them because it has a special four-wheel drive system. And yeah, today we're hoping to go over that and yeah, just give you guys a general feel of the car. So what we'll do now, like we always do, we'll go walk around the car and show you the spec on this particular one. Right people, so the MK3 Focus RS, this car in particular is a 2016 car. The MK3 Focus RS comes with a 2.3 litre EcoBoost engine. It's a 4-cylinder, unlike the Mk2, which was a 5-pot. Has about 350 horsepower and around, I believe, around 324 pound-feet of torque. It does have an overboost function which takes it up to about 347-ish. Basically 350 you could call it. Definitely a powerful car. Comes in manual only, like I mentioned. And yeah, this one in particular is finished in nitrous blue, which I think is probably the best colour to have on this car. Also with this car in particular, it's got the upgraded 19-inch black alloy wheels. Does set off the car quite nicely. Also, you get a nice sort of wing on the back, which Daniel has actually put a yellow RS logo, which looks pretty great. He's done that because he's hoping to get a mount tune kit later on at some point, and the mount tune badge is yellow. So pretty clever thinking there. Also got a nice set of twin exhausts on either side. Pretty big exhausts. Nice diffuser as well, a nice sort of pattern. Overall a pretty nice aggressive sort of car. It's not too over the top either. Some hot hatches, they're quite over the top, and also they don't have the right balance. Some are too tame. This is sort of a nice middle ground. Also with Focus RSs you get these Brembo brakes and with nice matching blue calipers. Pretty decent size, and also you get Michelin Pilot Super Sport tyres on this particular one. I do believe there's a Cup 2 tyre option, but I think for the road this is all you need. Definitely these tyres are great. We've experienced them in a few cars now and they definitely make the car stick to the road a bit better. What we'll do now is we'll just have a quick look at the interior. So here's the interior on the Focus RS. This particular one has got the standard seats, which I think are the better option to go for. Now the reason for this is, if you don't know already, is that the Recaro bucket seats, they sit quite high. That's been a known issue with this car, but you sit quite high and the pedals feel like you're sort of stomping on them. And these sit quite a bit lower. And it's not like you're getting a downgrade anyway because they're Recaro seats as well. And trust me, when we sat in them before, and we'll show you when we go for a drive in a bit, they definitely hug you in. Also, like I mentioned, because this is a sort of late 2016 car, you get the Sync 3 system. Now apparently this system is a lot better than the old one, but I haven't checked out the old one, so I can't really tell you much about that. Also, like I mentioned before, the MK3 Focus RS only comes in a manual, which is probably one of the more unique selling points to this car. You got your driving modes and everything there. Other cool features you get on this car, you get these little door protectors that just pop out. Look, I'll show you now. Look, they just pop out. Now that helps a lot, trust me, because but the thing is, as Daniel has mentioned, the other cars don't have them, so you can sort of save your own doors, but you can't save other people's doors hitting your nice car. Right, so as you can see, this particular car is nicely specced out. It's a later car, so you get the later systems, and also the color scheme helps it a lot. In this sun, the nitrous blue just pops. And definitely if you're interested in getting a Focus RS, I would recommend it for sure. So what we'll do now is we'll jump in the car and we'll just give it a few revs, and then we'll just do a little bit of a acceleration down here, and then we'll finally go for that drive you guys are waiting for. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so let's just turn this little beast on. It is keyless start. Got the keys in my pocket. Pretty nice comfortable seat. So clutch down, keep it in neutral. And also Daniel's put a little RS logo on the startup, so nice set of touches. Right, so as you can see, this car is bloody loud. I did not expect that. They're like little explosions, and this thing is stock. Anyway, what we're going to do now is Daniel's going to do a few launches and flybys, and you'll get to hear the car from the outside. Right, so time to do launch control. can hear that turbo already. Definitely sounds good, guys, definitely. I'm impressed. Now I can't wait to just jump in and drive it now. Alright, let's jump in and go for that drive. Right people, so as you can hear, we're in the Focus RS now. Pretty loud car, man, I like it. Straight away you feel at home in this thing. The steering, everything just is nicely positioned. Like, a lot of people complain about the driving position, but with these standard seats I feel perfectly fine in this. And also those pops and bangs, you can't beat those. So currently this car is in sport mode. Yeah, I've got a choice of a few modes in this. There's the infamous drift mode, which we're not going to use on this video. We've got track mode and we've got sport mode, and then we've got the normal one. So for the purposes of this video we're going to stick with sport mode. That was nice. Steering is quite nicely weighted. If I was to compare it to the other hot hatches, I'd say it's probably more like the Type R with sort of the added four-wheel drive capabilities, which is quite a good combination really, because the Type R is a proper little beast in the corners, and this definitely has an element of that in there. It's definitely more racy setup than any VAG hatchback. So what do I think about the power of this thing, guys? So this thing has around 350 brake horsepower. We have got it in sport mode. Overall I feel like, because it also is a manual, you got to remember, so with the DSG you've got sort of a flawless change between each gear as the power continues. With this I feel like it feels very similar to sort of the Golf R power level. I'll be honest with you, I can't really feel the extra sort of 50 horsepower, but the thing is, the way this car is set up is way more fun. That's the key thing that matters. It's not so much about straight line performance. This thing is like focused, like it feels like it wants to go. I mean, I know the name's Focus, there's no pun there, but look at you, ain't getting that in a Golf R or even my car. I tell you what, that pop and bang does not get old. I know a lot of cars they have them now, but this one's a bit different, because I love WRC. Like, I used to watch it all the time when I was younger, and this just reminds me of that sort of thing. It's a shame they don't use these to go rallying now, because this seems to be like a rally car setup already. In terms of ride quality, it is pretty good in normal and sport. Like, sport doesn't seem like unnecessarily firm or anything, because I'm used to dynamic modes and various sport modes, so I'm not like want to expect it to be like a full-on luxury car. It's a hot hatch, it has to have a compromise somewhere. Like in dynamic mode my car does crash a bit, and also some of the other hot hatches I've driven do crash around a bit, but in sport mode there is a track mode in this which is quite rough, but you don't need that on the road. And the sport mode's perfectly fine. I can't find any issue with it, because one thing I've noticed, reviews can tell you one thing when you read or watch videos about cars, but until you drive it yourself, you'll know it yourself. That's the key thing. If a car is rough but then you feel like it's a bit out of your control, and if you floor it, it starts going like this, that's when there's an issue, not when the sort of suspension can handle it. That's it. The way it sticks to that bend is different, trust me. I'm getting quite tempted to get an RS now. Literally every car, it's really bad that I'm driving all these cars. Literally, like, I've got my S3, like I'm perfectly happy with that car, but when you drive other cars you're like, yeah, I like this bit about this car, like that thing about that car. You want a car that combines all of them, but I don't think that car exists. The steering was quite nice as well. If you was to look at this interior in a picture, yeah, sure, you'd say it's quite plain, but you know, the touch points, that's the key thing, and the touch points in this car are good. The steering wheel is good, the seating position is great. I love these standard Recaros, proper like chunky seats, and also the gear shifter is proper nice and weighted, and these things matter. Now, if you're the sort of person that worries much about interior, you probably have to get something like my S3, but then I have an S3 and I can tell you that this thing is probably more fun to drive in the bends. So I mean, those are things to consider. Right, got some nice bends here. Probably experience the car a bit more. You can feel that torque vector, you know. There was no sort of nose heaviness and then the back coming around. Felt a bit more neutral than the other four-wheel drive hatches I've driven. You got a bit of a tugging sensation in towards the bend. That's obviously down to the four-wheel drive system in this car. It's a bit more unique. You can send up to 70% of the power to the back. That's how you get that infamous drift mode. We're in sport mode currently, and I definitely can feel it working. It's not just me saying it, definitely can feel it working. Also on this car, like I pointed out at the start of the video, we're running Michelin Pilot Super Sports, so that obviously helps the initial bite. So good tyres and good handling go hand in hand. Drop the windows down here again. Echoes nicely off these little walls. WRC vibes. These some nice tight bends and it's definitely sticking. You can power on in mid-bend as well and it just pulls out. No understeer. Yeah man, there's definitely different steer. You know when you power out of a bend in a VAG hatchback, you're going to contain a bit of understeer and then get the back round, but this you just plant it. Torque vectoring sorts it out. It doesn't feel nose heavy. Now by that I mean, for example, if you drive my car, you'll feel it very biased to the front. It won't feel like front driven, it'll feel four-wheel drive, but the thing is when it goes through a bend, it's predominantly the front that's sort of tugging and the back comes round. This, it feels more neutral. It feels like you're sort of in the middle. You don't feel like you're leaning into the bend and then getting the back round. One thing I have noticed, guys, you know when the braking there's some sort of a pitch that happens, like literally you brake and it starts moving about. But if you're not awake driving this car, that's kind of your own fault. It doesn't, it's like a really minor thing, but just to let you guys know it does happen. But a few other cars I've driven have done that, so that's often down to the surface and everything, so it's not too much of an issue, but it is there. But the brakes are effective, that's also what matters. Right guys, what we're going to do now is try the launch control on this. Daniel did it before, so we're just going to give it a go now. Right, so we're going to do the launch now and go across in the menus to down into settings. Put settings on. You're going to driver assist, launch control, then you build up the revs. It's 5k, then you just let go of the handbrake, you drop the clutch. That was a good launch, guys, definitely a good launch. I like the way you're sort of more engaged in this. And the 5k revs, it sounds like I'm getting ready to start a rally stage. That was good, man. One thing I like, because it's a manual, and the manuals are dying out now, everyone seems to go for DSG hot hatches. Now, I don't think there's any launch control in the manual versions of the sort of VW group hatches. You only get in the DSG one. So when you do launch, it's sort of just an automated thing. With this, you kind of engage with the launch as well, because it does it for you. It builds the revs, it holds it there 5k. You get the rally start, but then to go into second, obviously you got to change gear. I like it though, I do like it. Speed wise, it feels about the same. I don't think it feels any faster, but definitely it's about the way it feels. It's overall a very engaging car, guys, very engaging car, and I'm definitely impressed with it. The key thing, it's not always about power, it's about how the power is delivered, and this delivers it in a good way. Right guys, I think we'll just pull over now. I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this car, because I think we've covered a lot of it, but yeah, we need to conclude, right? So yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute. Right people, so the Focus RS, what do I think? Basically, I'd probably say, out of all the hot hatches I've driven now, this thing's probably the most fun car out of all of them. In terms of power, it doesn't feel too much more powerful than the other ones I've driven, say Golf R, my S3, Type R. It feels about the same power-wise, irrespective of the 350 horsepower number. But it's the way it combines the sort of character of a few different cars. Like for example, it has the rawness of the Type R almost, combined with the sort of security of an S3 and Golf R. And I like that compromise, because that means it does the best of both worlds essentially. Also the sound is awesome. It's got a really nice induction noise, and also you get the little gunshots on each gear change, and because you're rowing the gears, definitely part of the experience. And also you got nice features like launch control and stuff. But yeah, overall I enjoyed the day with this car. Big thanks to Daniel who invited me up to check out this car. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, if you want your car on the channel, do let me know. And for now, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more to come, because there's plenty of cars to come, don't worry about it, there's more like this to come. And yeah, take care guys, and I'll see you next video.